Can we talk about how The Last of Us isn't just a show or a game? It's emotional trauma wrapped up in a post-apocalyptic bow. I loved season 1. Loved it. It's my absolute favorite show. I've watched it like a million times. And so I was so excited for season 2, especially with the way season 1 ended. The tone, the acting, the heartbreak, everything was intentional. Every story, every plot line was finished. But season 2, it really felt like they walked into that writer's room and they were like, okay, so let's have the same main characters, but make a whole new show. Thoughts?
What happened to the original plot of the movie?
Let's talk about why season 1 hit so hard and season 2 just fell flat. And real quick, I'm Rayleigh. I love sharing my opinions, and I have an opinion about pretty much everything. Spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched it, make sure to go do that. But for the rest of us, let's get into it. So The Last of Us follows Joel, a hardened smuggler, and Ellie, an immune teenage girl. What starts as a basic job, just getting her across the country, turns into one of the most special, important, found family stories. Ray! Just tried to get up to the window, but there's no ledge. This story is so important to me. No other show storyline characters have hit me the way these characters have hit me. And I can't even describe it, which is why it makes me so upset that they just completely lost it in season 2. It's not just about zombies and the world falling apart. It's about grief and love and family and clinging on to your humanity when humanity has been lost. One of the big points of the show is how, even though the world is lost, you can still live. Line from the show when Ellie's like, if you don't see a point for the world, why bother going on? And he says, you go on for family.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
Keep going for family.
Season 1 opens with the scientists discussing possible pandemics, outbreaks, apocalypse. This scene is so important to the entire message of the show, especially when it comes to Joel's rampage, because they say in this interview with the scientist that there's no cure, there's no way to prevent it, there is nothing they can do, and if it happens, then they're fucked.
There are no treatments for this, no preventatives, no cures. They don't exist. It's not even possible to make them.
So if that happens,
we lose.
Them Marlene trying to get Ellie across the country because they think Ellie could be a cure because she's immune. That's where the debate comes in on whether Joel was right or wrong to save Ellie and doom the world. But my thing is, if you did not have a cure, that interview took place in 1983 or something. If you didn't have a cure then, and you didn't have a cure in 2003, how are you gonna have a cure 20 years post-apocalyptic world? Riddle me that. How? Really, we're gonna kill a 14-year-old girl on a whim. So anyway, after this interview, we open up pre-outbreak. You instantly feel this unsettling anxiety, something's coming. We're introduced to Joel and Sarah, and their relationship shapes the heart of this story. It really is the heart of the story because it shapes who Joel is and who he becomes.
We are not safe! No. Okay. You're okay?
Post-outbreak, we can see that people have kind of adjusted to this new reality. Fedra is the new government or whatever. Fireflies is a resistance movement. They're rebelling against Fedra because they call Fedra a dictatorship. This is when we're introduced to Joel and Tess. Joel and Tess, although Tess is in the show for a very short amount of time, she is still really important to the story, not just for Joel, but for Ellie too. For Joel, it shows that even though he has seemed to open up to one person over the years, even still, he keeps her at arm's length. He doesn't fully open up to her. And for Ellie, it is the start to show us her survivor's guilt because they both get bit at the same time, but Ellie's immune, so she doesn't die. And I do not want to hear nobody in the comments talking about, Bella Ramsey doesn't look like Ellie, and da-da-da-da-da. None of them look like their game counterparts.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
I thought Bella Ramsey did great as Ellie. So there will be no Bella Ramsey slander over here. Then we meet Ellie, and she's very similar to Joel, but she's also a contrast because she still has that childlike innocence. She believes in humanity. She believes that people are good. She wants to believe that people are still good. But that all changes when David comes, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Next we meet Bill and Frank, and Bill and Frank, I've seen that some people are calling this a filler episode, and there is no filler episode in this show, specifically this season, because every story is relevant to our main characters. It's meant to help progress their relationship through the show. Bill and Frank. Bill is like Joel, where he's very closed off from the world, and he says in his suicide letter, I was glad when everyone died. Then he says to Joel, he was wrong, and he met Frank and fell in love, and was shown that you don't have to close yourself off from everybody, even though the world ended. And we have Henry and Sam, and Henry and Sam are supposed to be a direct reflection of Joel and Ellie because Joel sees himself in Henry, and Ellie and Sam, really, they're both just trying to protect the people they love. And when Henry isn't able to do that for Sam, it causes Joel a lot of anxiety. He has real panic attacks just thinking about if he can't protect her. We get to the episode where they get to the college and Joel gets hurt, so Ellie has to protect him. And this is literally a direct flip from the whole season because it's been Joel protecting Ellie, but now she has to protect him and save him. And I love this because we get to see how much she's learned from Joel throughout her time crossing the country with him.
Editing me. I just want to pop in and say that, like, this was one thing that really made me mad, is that throughout season 1, in the after part of the show where they have a look inside the episode, they literally talk about how smart Ellie is and how she has to save herself and, you know, all of that. And then in season 2, they completely remove all of that and say, like, she's not as competent. You mean the 14-year-old that traveled across the country with Joel and almost died like multiple times and learned survival skills? She's not competent? Did she just forget all of that? Or
This is when Ellie meets David, and David is literally the worst kind of person. He is absolutely awful, and he is the symbolism of Ellie's last bit of belief in people, that people are good. And he tries to assault her, and that is when all innocence, all of it is lost.
You hide it forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky.
Next, we get Joel's rampage, and let me tell you, I love this scene. I really love this scene. Just the way he's so, like, dissociated and barely even looking at the people that he's killing. Like, yes, he's supposed to be kind of, like, not a great person in this scene, but, like, that's the whole point. And so I love it. I love the way it played out. I love the way that the music, like, drowns out a little bit, and so you really feel like you're in his head, and, like, the sound is just, like, muted. And all you're, like, trying to do is go get Ellie, and oh, it's so good. And this is when I get back to the intro scene, because you're telling me that they did not have a cure 20 years ago, pre-outbreak, when they had all their supplies and whatever, but now they do. 20 years post-outbreak. No, you're killing a 14-year-old on a whim, on a maybe. Well, no. Also, how are you gonna mass produce it? How are you gonna get it out to the whole world? How? Yeah, didn't think so. And the fact that they didn't even let Joel say goodbye, and they didn't give Ellie the choice. They didn't tell her that she was gonna die in order to do this. And in season 2, kind of like, I have to talk about this because it's important, but Ellie, at first Joel lies to Ellie about what he did in the hospital, but later, you know, she figures it out and he tells her, and she says, then I was supposed to die, like, my life would have mattered. And I feel like people are focusing too much on the fact that of what Joel did, but we need to remember that the fate of the world should not fall on a 14-year-old's hands. No, like, she shouldn't feel personally responsible for this, and that is where her trauma and grief comes in, because she feels personally responsible, and she feels like everybody that has died up until that point, it's her fault. And especially after what Joel did, like, that made it even worse, because in their heads they possibly could have made a cure, but now they can't because of what Joel did, because he wanted to save her, because he loved her. All in all, I loved season 1. It was handled with so much care. This is what really makes me mad, is because it really genuinely feels just like a completely different show in season 2. Like, season 1, every storyline finished, every storyline had a start, middle, and an end. There were no, like, guessing points where we were like, oh, what happened to these people? Like, we knew what happened to every single person and how that story played out and how it affected our main characters. And then we get to season 2, and it genuinely feels like they went into that writer's room, and Craig was like, so let's have Joel and Ellie, but let's make a whole new show. Let's just make a whole new show. Forget about everything that happened in season 1, and yeah, we'll just make a whole new show, but with the same characters. Why? In season 2, we time jump 5 years, and we can see that Joel and Ellie are estranged. We don't know exactly why, but we can guess. It didn't feel like Ellie was now 19 years old, dealing with her own things and estranged from Joel because of what he did. Like, it literally just felt like a bratty, moody teenager. That is really what it felt like. And it was so annoying because I was like, why was she more mature at 14 than she is now at 19? They took the personality of Ellie's 14-year-old self and then dropped her down to like 11 years old, but now she's 19.
Hello?
I thought it was really weird the way that Joel went to therapy. Joel Miller would never go to therapy. Joel Miller would never ever go to therapy. I don't care what anybody says. That was just so we could physically hear him say what he was thinking. Trust your audience. We don't need everything spelled out for us. We're not stupid. I'm sorry, but like, we're not. And you're treating us like we are. But Joel in season 1 and Ellie, they would never talk the way they talked in season 2. Like, one of the best parts about their relationship was the fact that they can communicate without actually saying anything. In the scene where Joel is telling Ellie about how he like tried to kill himself, he says like, anyway, the reason I'm telling you this, and she interrupts him and she's like, I know why you're telling me this. But now in season 2, they have to spell out every single little thing that they're thinking, which brings me to Abby. I feel like season 2 would have been so good if they would have stuck to the source material. It was right there. The source material was right there. All you had to do was follow it. Why? Why didn't you follow it?
Why? 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 Why?
Like, why are we getting Abby's monologue in the first episode? Why are we getting Abby telling us her every most inner thought, and she's describing Joel the way they described him, and then she calls him handsome? So, like, okay, I'm the nurses, right? And Joel just killed everyone and he left, and Abby's there trying to figure out what happened, and they're like, oh my god, Abby, like, he just came in and, like, shot your dad in the head. It was so sad. He, like, barely even looked at him. What did he look like? Oh, yeah, he was tall. He had a scar, grayish hair. Oh my god, he was so hot, too. Like, is that what they said? And then the second episode, when she actually has, like, the confrontation with Joel, she says it all again for, like, a million years. And don't get me wrong, Caitlin Dever did a fantastic job, but it wasn't necessary. Because we've already heard this. And my thing is, I feel like Abby's character as a storyline, because in the game, you don't know who Abby is, and then she just kills Joel. And so that was made the game so, like, heart-wrenching. And I feel like, because at the end of the first episode, Abby and her friends arrive in Wyoming, and we see her, like, they see the city, and then they, like, walk forward, and I feel like it would have been so cool if that was our first introduction to Abby. That would have been so fucking cool, because you're seeing that they're heading for where, like, Joel and Tommy and Ellie are, but we don't know why. We don't know who these people are, but they look like they're on a mission. And so I feel like that would have been so cool if they did it like that, but they didn't. They wanted to make everybody sympathetic this season. Why? Why? You don't need everybody to be sympathetic, at least not off the rip. At least let me hate them for a little bit, and then later tell me why they did what they did. You know, like, that is literally gonna make it so much better. And then we have Joel's death, which I remember when I was watching it, I was, like, gaslighting myself. I was like, that's not real. He's not actually dead. I was like, they're gonna bring him back, you know. I was really gaslighting the fuck out of myself. Ellie screams, and her, like, crawling over to him, like, I can't. And the next episode, we get Ellie waking up in the hospital, and she starts screaming, and, like, oh my god, that was so good. But then they time jump 3 months. 3 months. Months with an M, okay? I guess.
What? Oh. Okay.
And their explanation was that Ellie was in the hospital healing, but get out of here. No. Like, you have source material. You have source material. Follow it. Well, I just want to say Tommy's scene when he's there with Joel in the morgue and he says, give Sarah my love. Kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh. Well, then we get Ellie and Dina talking, and this is another thing. I really like Dina. I liked their relationship. I just wish their relationship progressed before Joel's death. Because why are they going to Seattle to find Abby and all her friends to avenge Joel? And it's feeling like, to me, it felt like a teen drama love story with a side plot of avenging Joel's death. Like, they just ran away from Infected, and they're supposed to be on this trip to avenge Joel, and she's finger banging her. Interesting choice. I feel like there's more pressing matters, Ellie, but, you know.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
I really wish they would have stuck with the source material in the game. Ellie, that was not Ellie. The way that she was acting on that trip, like, that was not Ellie. Especially not the Ellie who was about to rekindle with Joel and was trying to forgive him. She's finger banging him. Hello? What? Ma'am, priorities. When we got the part where Ellie confronts Nora, I was like, ooh, okay. Now we're seeing Ellie's rage. Now we're seeing her losing her sanity. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. And I will say, like, I loved that scene. I thought Bella Ramsey did so good. But no, it's like they were afraid to make Ellie unlikable. But that's literally the whole point. We're not supposed to like her, because even though she's our main character, we're seeing her descent into this loss of sanity. This loss of sanity. Like, we're not supposed to like her. We're not supposed to be supporting her because she's killing all of these innocent people in her quest to find Abby. The gameplay literally was a blueprint for how to do this, like how to continue this story and tell this story. And I'm not necessarily saying that they needed to do like a play-by-play, every single thing the same, but the big story, like, you need that. But nah, I'm gonna change everything and we'll call it dead. Everybody's gonna be sympathetic, so nobody knows who to root for and who to be against. And Neil Druckmann said, yeah, I'm not gonna work on this season. I'm just gonna let Craig take the reins. Hello? One other thing that bothers me is how they ruined this season, but Bella Ramsey takes the heat for it from all the fans. And I'm like, Bella Ramsey didn't write this show. So why is Bella Ramsey getting all this hate? Bella Ramsey can't act. I don't want to hear it. And I think they would have done amazing this season if they would have stuck to the story, if they would have stuck to the gameplay. Like, I think they would have done incredible. But they weren't given the opportunity. We get to that flashback episode where it shows Joel and Ellie's relationship throughout the years up until the night before his death. I I wish they would have sprinkled the flashbacks throughout the show instead of in one whole episode, because it would have made Joel still feel like he was part of the story. They kill him off in the second episode and then don't show him again until the second to last episode. Okay, that's a choice, I guess. So yeah, those are all my thoughts. I'm sure this was kind of jumbled and all over the place, but we love chaotic rants over here. But I do want to know, am I just being dramatic or am I right? Because I feel like we need a redo. I absolutely think we need a redo because that was disrespectful. That was a waste of my time. And I don't like my time being wasted, Greg. Make sure to let me know in the comments whether you agreed, disagreed, and if you want to see more chaotic rants, opinions, routines like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.